The doctor didn't look me in the eye when he handed me the folder. He looked at the floor, at his watch, at the sterile white wall, anywhere but at the man whose world he had just dismantled. He told me I had 6 months. He talked about quality of life and arrangements, words that sound like soft pillows but feel like jagged glass when they're meant for you. I walked out of that clinic feeling like a ghost haunting my own skin, watching people laugh at a bus stop and wondering how the world could keep spinning when mine had just stopped. Subscribe if you value the gift of every single breath. For the first few weeks, the world turned into a blurred montage of lasts. The last autumn leaves, the last birthday cake, the last time I'd hold my daughter without wondering if she'd remember the smell of my cologne. People treat you differently when you're a ticking clock. Some look at you with a pity that feels like an insult, others pull away because your mortality reminds them too much of their own. I watched as colleagues began eyeing my office and friends stopped calling because they didn't know what to say. It was easier for them to mourn me while I was still breathing than to actually stand by me. I was an open loop, a story everyone expected to end on page 10. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, feeling the phantom itch of a future that was being stolen from me. The emotional injustice of it burned hotter than the illness itself. I had worked 60-hour weeks, saved for a retirement I'd never see, and put off every dream for a later that was now officially cancelled. I felt like a spectator in my own life, watching the curtains close before the second act even started. But something shifted in the 4th month. I stopped waiting for the end and started wondering why I was following a script written by someone else. I began to realize that survival isn't just a biological function, it's a psychological rebellion. I changed everything, what I fed my body, how I moved, but most importantly, the standards I held for my own mind. I stopped letting the fear of death dictate the terms of my life. I decided that if I was going to leave, I would leave on my feet, not in a bed of regret. By the 6th month, the time I was supposed to be gone, the doctors were baffled. They called it a statistical anomaly, a fluke in the data. But as the months turned into years, the anomaly became a reality they couldn't explain. Surviving when you were supposed to be a memory creates a strange kind of isolation. You exist in a middle ground where the world has already moved on, but you're still standing. You see the people who gave up on you, the people who showed their true colors when they thought you were no longer useful, and you realize that most people only love you when you're convenient. Like this video if you believe the human spirit is stronger than any diagnosis. I didn't just survive, I transformed. I spent those 4 years building a life that was more vibrant than the 40 years that came before the news. I traveled to the places I'd planned for retirement, I spoke the truths I'd been too afraid to say, and I stopped apologizing for occupying space. The climax of this journey wasn't a medical cure, it was the moment I realized that the 6-month sentence was the best thing that ever happened to me. It stripped away the vanity and the lies, leaving only the raw, powerful core of who I was meant to be. Survival is gritty, exhausting, and often lonely. You carry the weight of those who didn't get a second chance, and you live with the constant shadow of a what-if. But you also live with a clarity that is blinding. When you've stared into the abyss and it blinked first, the small stresses of life, the traffic, the money, the petty opinions of others, they lose all their power. I am still here, for years later, not because I'm lucky, but because I refuse to accept a standard of defeat. Comment the word survivor if you are ready to fight for your future no matter the odds. Your life reflects your standards. If you accept a deadline, you'll meet it. If you demand a life of purpose, you will find a way to live it. Subscribe if you are a person of high standards who refuses to be counted out.